Welcome to another episode of Planet Nerdtooine podcast. I'm your host, Nerdtooine. We do an assortment of great comic-related content, whether it's comic book critiques, news, or anything that's happening, or discussions that have to be had that some people don't want to have. We're the ones that will bring that to you. And without further ado, let's bring on the most punk, rockiest rocker of all time, Year of the Collector.
What is up? What is going on, my fellow punk rockers? Glad to be here back. This is what our second episode this year.
Second episode this year.
We have some delays.
We had to take a couple weeks off. I got sick. This episode was supposed to be weeks ago, and then I got sick. Then Year had to move, but we did make sure that we rescheduled, and we have a very special guest with us today, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome our good friend JP. Uh-oh.
I've been playing for 30. What's going on, good people of the internet? It is JP. How y'all doing?
Oh, this is another great, glorious day in paradise. As you can see, it's been just me and Year for a while. We have had interviews with people on in the past, but you see, I'm a little rusty on the bringing on the guests. I got a little trigger happy. I hit it 2 times. Oh, sorry.
It's cool.
There we go. But yeah, so today we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty of a situation that is definitely plaguing the comic book community and industry right now. And the disclaimer before we get into it, this episode will probably have some, let's just say, advanced language, and some topics that some people will probably not like. So be wary. We did warn you, just for the record.
Are you telling me we're about to break the 3 F-bomb per episode rule?
Remember,
is that what's happening here?
That's not even really the official rule. It's more like guidelines. But more than I feel like in discussion like we're gonna get into in a second, I feel like if you're passionate about this topic, you're gonna get animated, you're gonna get excited, and if an F-bomb pops out because it is important to say at that moment, because some people look down on cursing, like, oh, if you have to curse, then you obviously don't know it, or you obviously can't debate. No. There is so many different ways you can emphasize a very intellectual thought with a properly placed F-bomb. I mean, if you haven't seen Boondock Saints, then you obviously don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, for sure.
It's just so versatile.
Most definitely. Like, I was interviewing Joseph Village last night, well, like famous Milestone editor, and writer, and he was dropping like curse words during our talk. So it definitely can be one of those things where sometimes you're just passionate. Sometimes you just have to get into it.
And I mean, let's be honest, we're all adults here. I mean, so if we want to use a little swear words, you're going to have to bear it. Or you know what, just scroll on. We don't need you to listen to us. Thank you. But that being said,
different dimension there.
Yeah, I'm shout out to you, JP, because like we have scheduled this, like I said, we have scheduled this like last month, and life be lifing sometimes, and JP was cool enough to be like, all right, let's do it on another day. And I was like, okay, here's the date. He said, got you. Book me. I said, all right, cool. Because we're gonna start off with something that has been a campaign of sorts of JP. And it's the fact that there has been no comic books, no ongoing comic book series on Marvel or DC where you have a black character being the lead of the series.
Most definitely. Right? Yeah, no, we're at a point where like there's been miniseries over and over and over again, but we have officially had 1,039 days as of today with DC having no ongoing for a black character. And the mainline DC universe, I have to specify that because if I don't, the absolute Green Lantern fans will crucify me. Right. And then with Marvel, we just started the clock on Marvel because Miles Morales' Spider-Man just ended. So we are in a really interesting position right now where it looks like neither of the big two really wants to focus on black characters unless it's a mini series because they're so worried about sales, but they don't want to actually explain how sales work to people.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. Like I see different ways where like people can come at this issue, right? They can say like, oh, this is like the snake that is eating its own tail by saying, oh, well, books don't get long series or then don't get solicited to be long series because people don't buy them, right? But at the same time, these books were like people of color, specifically in this case, like black characters, they don't get promoted. They don't invest in bringing like heavy like top hitters in writing in art, like people that will sell because they have a following regardless of like what character they're doing or what series they're doing. Like there are artists, there are creators out there that will sell on a name on a name basis.
Oh, for sure.
And sometimes like minor characters, B, C tier characters or characters of color don't get that same love. They just get they get creative team that they might be good, that might be all stars, but then are not as widely known as like my fraction and Jorge Jimenez on Batman, for example. Right?
Sure.
Books that we
Absolutely.
know are gonna be flying off the shelves, regardless who's the creative team behind it. And I think that's also a part of the problem, right? Like this series, specifically speaking, like in DC, they don't get that push. They don't get promoted. They don't even get the chance to fail. Like they get solicited for like 5 issues and that's it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's enough to fill a trade a lot of the time. Like you'll see, like a perfect example, Mr. Terrific Year 1 came out last year. It was 6 issues, and even though the first few issues didn't really sell that well because they came out before the TV, or not the TV show, the Superman movie came out, everyone saw the sales go up because of the Superman movie and people tracking down the previous issues, and you saw chatter going on. People wanted to read more about him. No one really saw anything really do well, and there's no Mr. Terrific book. Why is there no Mr. Terrific book? Black Lightning is a perfect example of a character where he was the first DC black character to ever get his own ongoing series, and yet collectively he has only had 35 issues of solo content. And it's like, how on
in
God's
what, like
green
50
earth?
years now?
Like next year is 50 years Black Lightning has existed. How insane is that?
He even had his own TV show, right?
Mhm.
And still didn't get like an ongoing series based off of that.
He got a miniseries by his creator the same year the first season came out. But the problem with that was Jenny Isabella is very like cold and like doesn't like the way DC has treated Black Lightning. She doesn't like the fact that Jefferson has kids, even though she liked the relationship she had with the TV show and getting to guest star and go check it out. She loved the cast. She genuinely doesn't like the idea of Jefferson having kids. So when you read Black Lightning Cold Dead Hands, it feels like a prequel or a year 2 story where Jefferson is just like on the job with nothing going on because Jenny doesn't like the idea of Jefferson having a family. She likes him being an independent hero on his own.
And not for nothing, but I mean, he kind of deserves that. I mean, if you look at like again the first black character to have an ongoing series at DC and how they treated him all this time, it's just it doesn't make any sense. Like you have the properties, and like and that's the thing. Like both Marvel and DC have a plethora of black characters and minority characters that they can use, and you can't tell me that oh, we'll run another Spider-Man Peter Parker series out for the 1,000th time and give it 12 issues, then no one buys it. Well, let's just reboot it. Well, how about maybe you take a break from Peter Parker for a fucking second?
Well, and that even brings up a crazy point too, because the issue that we keep having with Miles Morales ever since Bendis left is they keep doing this really dumb thing where they end his ongoing series at 42 issues because his spider was number 42 in Norman's little experiment, and like his lottery number was 42, and it's like, I see what you're doing, and that's cute, but it's also really fucking annoying. Like, it's genuinely annoying because it shows that you don't believe in the longevity of a character. You can say that he's, other than his legacy numbering, he's never had 50 issues, and it's like, maybe we should stop telling Peter Parker stories because the most you could do is give him a new version of a symbiote. Oh, Gwen Stacy's alive again. Oh, Dr. Octopus is coming after him again. The Green Goblin is back. Like it's the same stuff
or what
over
just
and over.
happened recently, like they didn't have like during the, I want to say like the last arc of the Seth Wells, not Seth Wells, yeah, Seth Wells. During the last arc, they turned him into like all sorts of things. It was like you was reading like a what if series with Spider-Man in it, right?
Yeah.
He was doing all sorts of things, and now I think he had like some team up that was like a Guardians of the Galaxy type of team up. Like that's where they taking Peter Parker.
They said Peter in space, and then Norman's posing as Spider-Man, and Ben Reilly is posing as Peter, which is so dumb. Like, genuinely, what are we doing these days? Versus what I thought would have been the perfect idea back in 2016. Why not just let Parker Industries keep going all this time? Why not let Peter grow up and have Mary Jane finally, and let him grow up and be the guy in the chair, and let Miles be the amazing Spider-Man? Explore a Batman Beyond dynamic with those characters. Oh no, you're afraid of the white whale fans giving up on your Amazing Spider-Man title? Oh well, I guess we'll just not care about Miles. I guess that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's my issue with publishers. Like they're afraid of making like bold decisions like that, and then they just stop the growth of not just Miles but Peter at the same time. Like it's a revolving door of like bombastic ideas that is not what like the core fandom wants. Like the core fans want is what's happening on the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Grown up, married, family. Like people been longing for that, right? Like they could have done that in Amazing Spider-Man, have him like step aside, not retire, not die necessarily, but like take another role or having in another era in his personal life, and then have Miles pick up the slack. Miles has an entire cast of like supporting characters, villains. Like he has his own chunk of New York to like play with. Like I just don't understand like what is the actual downside of like evolving characters, like giving them bigger roles. Like,
because they're afraid of the sales. Because like they know if you look at what used to be the Diamond record, if you go to comiccron.com, or if you go to like the Comic Hub charts for currently, Amazing Spider-Man is the one book that keeps Marvel afloat these days. Like genuinely. And if they if the what I call the white whale fans, the people who genuinely buy every single Amazing Spider-Man book ever, no matter how much prices rise, no matter what's going on with the title, like Mary Jane could start spitting out venom babies from her crotch and they'll still read it. And they like genuinely, and that but the minute they see a Peter's not there, and or a Peter variant is not there, they're gonna panic and they're gonna be like, black kid, oh no, we don't like it, and it's a problem.
Yeah, Marvel also has this problem with like the business model they've been running in their comic book series, where they'll start a series for a character, whoever, and then they were doing like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago they were doing like 10, 12, 15 issues, right? Like they used to like make ongoings as long as they could, but now they cut everything to like between 10, let's 18 at the most. And then they will cancel a run because of sales, and then they would just relaunch a new volume, a new series for the same character, sometimes with the same creative team, right?
You wanna know why that happened? It was Marvel Now. And Marvel Now went back in 2011 and technically New 52 as well. Once they started to realize that they would see these incredible giant jumps because of number ones, and then it would plummet, and then be like, oh, what do we do? Number one! And then they would have weird little gimmicks like Marvel Now, or All New, All Different Marvel, or Marvel Legacy. How great Marvel Legacy was. It lasted 5 minutes. Back to Marvel Now again with an exclamation point now. Like, it just kept being the same dumb thing over and over again. And it's like, you need to get the PR people out of the writer's room or at an editorial and actually think logically. Because yes, you can have like restarts and whatnot here and there, but genuinely, people just want good stories. You don't need to confuse people more than you already do. I will say, the one thing that came good out of Marvel Legacy was the legacy numbering. Because they're like, hey, legacy number, but we're gonna keep rebooting because we want your number one money every few years, and it's like, all right, cool.
It's like every year now. Like I've been entering like all my books because year got me hooked on League of Comic Geek, and I just been literally going through boxes and boxes and boxes, and I'm like, I was doing the Fantastic Four. I was like, wait a minute, these literally just both came out. They literally rebooted Fantastic Four again in less than a year.
That's another perfect example. Ryan North did like 33 issues, like on a run. It got canceled and then rebooted the Fantastic Four with Ryan North as a writer in the next number one, and it's ongoing again with Humberto Ramos, and it happened with like Black Panther, with Steve Rogers Captain America, with Sam Wilson Captain America. It's currently happening with Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
right?
like Steve Scarlet Witch was a perfect example where they were like, hey, Scarlet Witch book by Steve Orlando. Then it was, let's figure out who's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme. Oh, it's Wanda by Steve Orlando. And I'm like,
no, what? It was Scarlet Witch. Then it was Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Then it was Scarlet Witch again. Then it was Scarlet Witch and Vision. And now it's Sorcerer Supreme with Scarlet Witch.
What's going on with Storm?
And they're all written by Steve Orlando. And I think Tameta has been like the colorist for the most part. And they have like the same artist too. Like they're just relaunching stuff to get that number one money, and then after 5 issues, it gets canceled, and then Steve Orlando got to come up with a new title for basically the same story.
And it's funny too, a perfect example was Storm right now, because they had Storm last year, then they had Rogue Storm during the Age of Revelation nonsense, and now they had Storm Earth's Mightiest Mutant come out this week. But the problem with Earth's Mightiest Mutant is Murewa Ayodele pitched it to everyone as it was going to be an ongoing. Storm was finally going to get an ongoing, and then solicits came out and it said of 5, and it's like, hey, Murewa, what's going on, buddy? And I even like hit him up on Twitter and was like, what's going on? And he's like, Marvel won't tell me. When you're not even communicating with your creators, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, they're panicking. They're absolutely panicking because they got absolutely demolished in sales this year by DC. Because DC, unlike Marvel, and they were like, oh, you guys like this absolute universe? Let's give you more. Instead of, oh, you guys like the Ultimate Universe? We're going to end it. Oh, wait. No, we're not. Like it's coming back as reborn.
No, what's going on is like some of the characters are going to get reborn and some of the powers are going to get moved because of the weird little boxes Miles brought back.
Yeah, so let me get you caught up with that, because I know we haven't talked about that, but
we haven't talked.
There was an Ultimate book with Miles, right? And Miles was like traveling around the Ultimate Universe, and he gathered like this box, like this. It literally looked like it said "boop" on it, but that's another conversation. Apparently, inside the box, there's like powers or DNA or some information that is gonna come back with him to the 616 universe, and I guess something or somebody from the Ultimate Universe is gonna be quote unquote reborn in the 616 universe. But they're not bringing it back. As far as I know, it's not like the whole universe. It's like whatever's inside that box is gonna be born. It's gonna be brought into the 616 universe.
Because me and you were reviewing Ultimate Wolverine, and then I love that title. And then they did the whole Ultimate Endgame blind bag fiasco.
Oh,
then don't get me started.
So let me reel that back. So in Marvel, I think the only ongoing series that had a black character as the lead was the Storm series, right?
Oh, it was Miles. It was Miles.
And Miles, right? But Miles just ended.
And then Storm was technically an ongoing, but it only lasted like 6 issues. And then went to Rogue Storm, and now we have Earth's Mightiest Mutant.
Rogue Storm? Oh, the one from Revelation.
Yeah.
So all the books that launch from the Ashes era, they were supposed to be ongoings, all of them. and then I think X-Force was the first one to get the axe, and then the Age of Revelation happened, and you're thinking, oh, all this stuff is just gonna continue after the Age of Revelation. Newsflash: Uncanny X-Men, I think Exceptional X-Men are gonna continue, and everything else is getting rebooted, or there are other characters that are gonna get like their own series, like Maggie and Colossus. Rogue is getting her own solo. Cyclops is getting his own solo, and instead of continuing Storm's story, she gets a new series that is gonna be a mini.
Yeah, it's weird,
Like,
man.
Well, it's like we were talking about before we actually got on the air. It's a lot of these companies, big time companies, they talk about inclusion, they talk about representation, they talk about all that, but it's never really about the fact because it's the right fucking thing to do. It's only done for 100% pure profit aspect, and if they're not going to make money on it, they're not going to give a shit. And like when we were like Disney, when they were doing the Miss Marvel, they knew better than to not cast that one correctly, because they knew they could make money off of that. And then you look at Moon Knight, they were like, oh, well, it doesn't matter, it's fine. We can cast whoever we want. It's fine. The Jewish aspect, that means nothing. It's no big deal. It's not important.
It's barely glossed over. We're not going to worry about that. Like, it's not.
No one's going to notice her character. No one cares. No.
Yeah,
or then like how they've done with all the recent minority-led projects for DC, for Disney. Like, apparently Wonder Man's the greatest Marvel thing ever created, and it was promoted nowhere.
Because they were going to do a tax write-off on it. They were going to do a Batgirl with that, and then it was like, nah, let's put it out. And then, like, it's doing so well, but you know they have no plans to continue that dude anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be anywhere in the future.
Listen, this issue is like crossing over to like other media, like we're just talking about right now. Last year, it was like Marvel had all these shows, all these projects that were like on holdout, and then they didn't get no love, they didn't get barely any promotion. They got blasted out there into the streaming services to like get watched in like 1 week or in 2 weeks, and then they completely get forgotten about, right? And Marvel is doing this shift, and I've been talking about this with Nerdtooine before this episode got into like even into our conversation, that there is a shift happening where they're gonna walk away from most POC characters, like Hispanic characters, female characters, because since the Marvels came out, right, the Marvels had an uphill challenge, right? Like you have like all the hatred for like Brie Larson from like, you know, cave dwellers from the internet, number one. Then they have the Saga strike where they couldn't talk about it, they couldn't promote it, they couldn't go on press tours to promote the movie. The movie comes out, and then it turns out that the director didn't actually have the liberties to do the movie that she wanted to, right? So then they turn back, they lean on that to say, well, I guess female characters don't sell, so we're just gonna walk away from them. Oh, but
we tried.
We set them up, right? And then Ironheart, it's like post-production, and they refuse to put it out when it could actually work. They wait years, they put it out there like reluctantly, right? Like with no promotion, no press, no nothing. Oh, look, the show didn't get watched. Well, you didn't promote it. Well, why would we spend money on that when like female characters don't sell, don't hit numbers? Yeah, they're not getting watched because they're not getting the same love.
It's an effort. It's like you kind of said it perfectly earlier, where it's like,
yeah, the snake's like the snake eating its own tail.
And it's
and
wild.
then it happened with Eyes of Wakanda, and then with Wonder Man. Like, look at the pattern. It's female characters or characters of color or black characters specifically. They're doing a shift, and they should not saying it out loud. But look,
they're not saying it out loud, but it's also like they learned it from watching what the comics were doing to begin with. Because you notice a perfect example of it was All New, All Different Marvel. All New, All Different Marvel came out and was like, look, we're putting the old dudes to bed, we're doing new things, we're kicking it off. And then Bendis released that first like cover featuring Riri. And that's when Comics Gate was born.
They're erasing my heroes.
Yep.
They're race swapping my heroes.
Yep.
Or they gender swapping my heroes. they're forcing all this.
It's insane. It was crazy too because like the day Riri was announced, that was the day Comicsgate was born. That was the day you can track it, where you saw like all these goons come out of the woodwork and start saying the goofiest stuff. Where it's like you're not actually reading the content, you're not actually like absorbing the content and actually contributing to the sales. But then you want to say, oh, it's not selling. It's because it didn't even have a chance to sell. Marvel didn't promote it that well, and same thing with DC. DC and Marvel both had this problem. And I was even talking about this with Joseph Village yesterday on the show, where I was like, look, the DC and Marvel need to understand that social media is a thing now. I know it's hard to understand that social media exists, and you can lean on creators like myself, like Year. We definitely are out here trying to say, hey, you can use us, utilize us. We will teach people how FOC works. We'll teach people how pre-orders work. But why on God's green earth did you not teach all this stuff back when you had a monopoly controlling your industry? Why didn't you teach people this years ago, but like back during the New 52 when you saw the highest sales in existence? Why did you teach people during DC Rebirth when you made books returnable? You had all these opportunities to educate people about the system, but you chose not to. And a perfect example about how they're not like believing in Black characters is what's going on with the new history of the DC universe, the Dakota incident right now, where you have Joseph Village, Stephanie Williams, Nicholas Draper Ivey, Morgan Hampton, all these writers going out and saying FOC's coming, FOC's coming, Final Order Cutoff is coming, nonstop. But then like Joseph Village even pays a video editor to make a trailer for the book. DC didn't pay for it. DC didn't pay for it. DC didn't even put it on their socials, but they were real quick to put DC Vertigo's back on their socials the same day. They were real quick.
What's crazy?
Yeah.
When the new history was announced, they did put it on their socials, right? With Mark Waid and like all the other set of creators. I know because that's how I found out about it, right? And for this one, like I didn't know that they were doing like technically like a sequel or like a one shot following that series specifically for milestone characters until like I saw people talking about it on JP's Discord server. That's how crazy that is. Right? Like this is not beating the allegations. Like how are you gonna put like all this effort into like
they're not even
promoting the new history of the universe, but when you're gonna shoehorn in the milestone history into your universe, you're just gonna like let it fly on its own. That's so fucked up, bro. Like I don't understand that. Like you want all your books to sell.
You
like,
would think
why you don't put
in theory.
Yeah, you would think.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Maybe there's something we don't know. Maybe there's something like maybe we're stupid like that, you know?
Well,
maybe
like
we don't know. Maybe we don't know what. I mean, we know why, but like
we're not the big time CEOs making all the decisions. So what do we know?
It's wild too, because like Morgan Hampton even said, because I interviewed him on Tuesday. He was even like, "Look, I don't think DC's doing it maliciously. They just don't really care." And I was like, "Damn, that's a heck of a blow to hit." Where it's just like it's not really their focus. It's not really what they see. And one thing that Joseph talked about that you'll hear on Tuesday is he straight up said that it's a situation of history, like you said. It's the snake eating its own tail, where they look at the history, they see it didn't do that well, so obviously they're not going to give as much of a push. And it's like, you didn't try back then, so why would that be a good metric? You're not like, you didn't promote it back then, you didn't try back then, you didn't even let it get to 6 to 12 issues. Because I feel like the biggest problem that the system has right now is they don't value digital. They don't value digital when it comes to being on Ichiban. They don't care about Amazon. They damn sure don't care about Sweet Shop, because they're not talking to Sweet Shop, because Sweet Shop's about to drop. They don't care about their own app. They literally don't care about the reading numbers on their own damn app.
Right.
And it's like, they don't care about trades, because if they cared about trades, they would at least give every book 12 issues. That way they can see the metrics off the 6-issue trade. And it's like, you would think any person who goes to school for 5 minutes and learns about PR or analytics, it would think maybe we should change this system a little bit. Actually, think for 5 seconds. You would think there'd be a shift, but for some reason, we're still locked in this idea that the system has to be the same way it's always been, and not actually think with modern analytics. And it's just like, huh. No wonder Batman's the only book that sells because y'all don't actually think about anything. Great.
See, I'm gonna push back on that a little bit because like I forgot to mention this before, but the reason we was talking about the business model specifically like in Marvel, where like they're banking on that issue number one money, is because on average sales drop 60% from issue one to issue two. That's
Agreed.
just like across the board. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who it is, right? And then they keep dropping slowly until the sales stabilize, right? Like a Batman number one is not gonna sell the same as number two, but then 4, 5, 6, you already have like a customer base established that they're gonna keep coming back to the series, right? DC knows this, and I know like they for a fact they know that sales stabilize because outside of Batman and Superman and like Wonder Woman, for example, there are 3 characters that are not as popular as those 3 that don't have the history or the longevity or the fandom, the size as those 3, right? And those are Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Nightwing, and Harley Quinn. Those 4, for those of you that are not like don't have like your finger on the pulse, those 4 have the longest ongoing series outside of like Batman. Nightwing is over 100 issues. Catwoman is about to hit 80 some issues. Harley Quinn is about to pass 50 some issues, and Poison Ivy is like reaching 40 issues on ongoing series. Poison Ivy specifically has the same writer since issue number 1. All the other issues have not been rebooted. Those series have not been rebooted. They just have like different arcs, and then a new creative team comes in.
I can explain that for you if you want, because it's a situation of they know that they struck gold with Harley and Dick specifically, because Harley has been their Deadpool since the New 52.
I think Harley is the 4th pillar in DC.
No, like you're correct. You're correct solely because of analytics. If it weren't because of how popular she became as DC's equivalent to Deadpool, like to the point that Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti put an equivalent to Deadpool in her book called Red Tool, like they knew what was up from jump. And like Harley specifically has become that 4th pillar, not by choice, but by analytics, because she is a symbol for liberation, for freedom, in those different aspects.
And she sells merch like crazy.
Exactly. In the case of Dick is a situation of the only sidekick that survived the comics code. He is the only sidekick that grew up, and it is a perfect like encapsulation of growing up with the audience. And with him, he has enough of a fan base where he's like, he has his own town, he has his own lore, he has his own background, and he's able to stand out on his own in the same vein as Bucky, but Bucky still hasn't figured it out the same way Dick has, where it's like, genuinely, Nightwing is such a great fan that we've gotten to the point that like fans care about his ass more than his lore. And it's like,
I was about to say that too. Like, I think you were forgetting about his ass. Like that's like, really whatever.
Right. But the case of Selena and Pam, they've just had really good creative teams that have struck. I swear to you, the minute G. Willow Wilson leaves Poison Ivy, that book is going to crumble. That book is going to wilt like a weed, and no one will care anymore. Either they're going to say it's going to end with G. Willow, or it's going to like have a new creative team that's going to bomb. Because genuinely, the story that G. Willow Wilson tells is the same kind of story she told with Ms. Marvel. But the problem is, Marvel doesn't understand G. Willow Wilson the way DC understands her, where when you have her, let her cook. But with Marvel kept fucking with her until she just got tired of it and left. Where she was like, as I remember during Civil War 2, she in her tie-in, because she didn't want to do a tie-in to the event, but in her tie-in, she pointed out where Bendis got the plot, like idea for Civil War II, where she straight up had a random side character say the plot, like the book, the event is Minority Report, and it was like, what? And it freaked everybody out. But it's like, the only reason why Pam is doing so well is because G. Willow Wilson is gas, and also there's kind of a weird like cult of Pam fans on the internet. Because like I don't fully understand them, but they exist, and I met their leader. It's very odd.
And that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
Those are not like those typically are not the characters besides Dick Grayson, which like you can make the case that Dick Grayson has crossed over generations, right? Like people that loved him when he was Robin, loved him now as Nightwing grew up, they're older now, and they still fuck with the character. But all the other ones, the publisher had to notice that even after the first couple issues came out, sales stabilized, and those characters found a fandom. They found a market, and the sales could go up and down depending on like the creators that come in, but they are for the most part stable, and they kept them going, and they refused to do that for all the characters, specifically speaking, minority characters, people of color. Right, like Black Lightning, like nobody can convince me otherwise. All the books that launched during the All In initiative were originally pitched to be ongoing series. All of them.
I can tell you that Cyborg wasn't, because I just spoke to Morgan Hampton. He came in with 6 issues. They gave him 6 issues. But everything else...
I think Cyborg was doing the Dawn of DC launch.
Right, correct. Yeah, I think it was All In. I could be wrong. But like, I agree with you, though, that all like the Black Lightning book, based off of what Brandon Thomas was trying to encourage people, it was going to be longer, but then he had to pivot into DC Power, and then DC Power was going to be an ongoing thing, where it was just going to be like the black superheroes of the DC universe, but then sales weren't met with that, so he just didn't get nothing else. Like, genuinely, it's a situation of they stack the deck against marginalized characters. Because if you notice too, in the case of female characters, unless your name is Diana Prince, or you are tied to a bat, or a Superman, you don't have a book. Vixen, no book. Zatanna only is coming back because Jamal Campbell blew up.
Because Jamal Campbell is he is a master when it comes to like writing and drawing Zatanna. But if it wasn't
Birds
for
of Prey, not here. Canary, not here. Like Birds of Prey was getting so much critical acclaim, but the sales weren't there. Like Birds of Prey, so good. But it's like, or Canary on her own is so good. Huntress, like there's so many characters you could point to where it's like they have, or Vixen. Vixen literally could be the Beyonce of the DC universe. Bruce Wayne could be walking around with McCabe suits on, but DC doesn't think like that. They don't want to put that work in.
It bothers me when you say that, because in the Birds of Prey, I want to say on the second arc, Kelly Thompson wrote that in as part of the story. Like Vixen have issues where like people were like targeting like her clothing brand. They've been using it to like take mind control people. And I was like, bro, that could have spawned into like Vixen having her own story, how she was managing her business, like her brand, her clothing brand. Like Kelly Thompson put it out there clearly. Oh, she's like a world leading mogul in the industry.
Imagine if you let Stephanie Williams cook the way she wants to. Imagine if you just woke up one day and there were McCabe variants the same way they did the Hellfire Gala. Think about that for 2 goddamn minutes. If they actually put the thought process, like how much they could, like you got DC, you got Marvel dabbling in blind bags. Imagine blind bags where you pulled up to the Wayne Gala with different McCabe sponsored outfits, different McCabe style, this, that, and the third. They would go feral, and they don't even want to think about it for 5 seconds. And it's like, what are you doing, DC? You like I'm over here, like it was so funny when you think about it. G. Willow Wilson is the only person to ever do a Vixen miniseries. Vixen only has 1 miniseries and 1 webtoon. How is that possible?
Crazy. That's crazy. A character that crossed over media because she's been in multiple animated movies and shows.
Yeah,
Like you
Legends of
would think,
Tomorrow. I mean,
yeah, you would think she would have more runs, but no. I
And her
mean, what are we
miniseries
talking
was
about? Black Lightning has 35 issues to his name in 50, almost 50 years.
And like he had his own TV show to the point they started to have to use plot lines from The Outsiders because he had more appearances in The Outsiders for the television show. And it's like, honey, maybe if you like let him have a book for a little bit. Or my favorite example to show people why DC doesn't give a shit about black people is Naomi. You had Brian Michael motherfucking Bendis come in. He wanted to give you your own Riri Williams in Naomi, where you could bring in a new generation of readers. You gave him one volume, co-written by David F. Walker, and then I forget her name, the lady who came in and was like, I wanted to make a whole TV show out of it. And she made she got about a team, found a whole crew, a cast, and was like, I want to make a Naomi TV show. I said, give it 6 months, that shit's gonna be canceled. Because that it has one volume, 6 issues of content. What the hell are you gonna do with 6 issues of content into a TV show if you couldn't take 35, well at the time, like 20 something issues of Black Lightning and make that into a 4-season thing? What are you gonna do with 6 issues for Naomi into a whole multi-season thing? Like, it's not gonna exist. And people didn't believe me. People were like, no, this is gonna be hot. Ava DuVernay is gonna come in and do a whole damn thing. And I'm like, okay, I'll see you in 6 months. And that shit didn't go nowhere.
Where's even Naomi right now? Because I know Bendis had her like.
I think she got like dropped off with the Legion, but even the Legion got rebooted recently.
I know that she was like hanging out with the Justice League and the Amazons in the previous Justice League run. Because I saw the issue that Sanford Green did, and because I'm not familiar with that run, I only picked that up because of it had Sanford Green on the art, and I was like, oh, Naomi is like hanging out with Yara and Diana, and like the Amazons fuck with her. I was like, okay, cool. They currently we have the Justice League Unlimited, just like in the show, where like all heroes are part of the Justice League. Naomi's not in it. I haven't seen her. Nope. Not even a cameo background appearance.
Because they knew once Bendis left DC, there was nothing that they had to do left with him. They lost a reason to give a shit about. Why do you think like so many characters Bendis created, other than Miles and Riri, like don't really get prominence? Like Jessica Jones is there, but like even Jessica is only getting a mini series because she's coming back to the fucking Daredevil. Otherwise, you wouldn't see shit from Jessica. And it's like it's like they do what they have to appease, not because they want to. That's a big issue that they're dealing with.
Speaking of Jessica Jones, she's married to Luke Cage. They have a daughter. Luke Cage is the mayor of New York City since when? Like 2017?
No, it's like 2023 or 2022, whenever Gang War.
Like early 2020s, I see.
It was like right when Gang War happened, he became
no, not Gang War. Devil's Reign, I think it was called.
Oh yeah, Devil's Reign. So like whenever
Devil's Reign, whenever that whole thing was happening, he became the mayor of New York City.
So 2022.
Thank you. Dethroning Kingpin, right?
Yeah.
He has not had a series to like explore him as the mayor of New York City. He be appearing in other people's books as the mayor. It's like, oh, the mayor is here. Let's talk to Cage. Cage is gonna help us out, and then he's there for like a page, and then disappears.
Why have a whole series talking about that? That sounds interesting. Why would they? Oh, it's almost like they're just trying to not do entertaining shit because, like you said earlier, they're not willing to take any fucking risks at all. They're gonna keep going back to what? Oh, let's do another Peter Parker. Let's do another. It's all about just rehashing all their greatest hits and hoping for more greatest hits.
And before anybody comes at me in the comments, I know he had a run during the Gang War crossover.
It was a mini. That's all it was a mini. It was Luke Cage Gang War.
Right.
That's all you
Luke
had.
Cage Gang War. It had like 4 or 5 issues where he had to like for the first time ever put on a mask so people wouldn't know he was out there, like, you know, fighting bad guys. Oh,
which I
so
don't
people
fully
didn't
understand because, like, who's gonna stop Luke motherfucking Cage?
Right.
Let's keep it.
Nobody's gonna know that this bald black guy that has
Right.
unbreakable skin is fighting in the middle of Manhattan. No, nobody.
It can't be Luke Cage. He's the mayor. He wouldn't do that.
Right. He was wearing one of those masks, like where you can see like the rest of the head, like only his face.
It was like a Batman mask with no horns. But it was so bizarre. Like, what are we
and
doing?
You can see the bald head. I was like, bro,
he still had the yellow shirt on.
No, it was like a full like grayed out outfit. It was very odd the way they did my man's. It was very odd.
It was weird, but he had like a run, a short run that was part of that crossover.
Yep.
And after that, nothing. Like mutants are still illegal in New York City, I think. Being a vigilante is still illegal in New York. It's been illegal since Kingpin. And then you bring in Luke Cage to be the major, and nothing. He has nothing to say about it. He has no moment where, because like I have seen Luke Cage in like other people's books whenever they are in New York, right? But there's nothing really there. He's just like, oh, here's the major, Luke Cage, one of us, but he really can help us, or really can like intercede because he's the major. He can't play favorites, and that's it. You really don't hear what he has to say.
Which is bullshit, because if you read Miles Morales, when fucking Hobgoblin blew up Miles's like therapist's office, he was Luke came in and was like, "Look, bro, I'm gonna take care of this. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat nothing. I'm gonna get you and your family a new apartment. Don't worry about it." Like, him and Misty took care of everything, and I'm like, y'all really sweat this? Y'all can't talk about what Luke Cage is doing at all. Like, it boggles the mind, bro. And then you think about Black Panther. Hold
on. Before we move to Black Panther, let me tell you more. New York City having lost against vigilantes and X-Men has given all the characters some development or some moments more than the mayor of the city. Like, for example, I don't know if you ever saw this, Nightcrawler was in New York City out and about, and so people didn't know it was Nightcrawler. He was wearing like a Spider-Man costume.
Yeah, he was the uncanny Spider-Man.
The uncanny Spider-Man. Bro. He had a series out of that. Okay, nobody was gonna notice like the feet that look like this, and the hands and the tail. Oh, who could that be? That's Spider-Man puffing here and puffing over there. Oh my God!
Look, they'd be more happy. Most of these so-called fans would be more willing to back freaking that version of Spider-Man than Miles Morales.
Yeah. It's very depressing. It's very depressing.
Yeah, but again, my point is like, all the characters are getting some moments or developing or getting like some fun ideas, and Luke Cage is just stuck in the mayor's office, not doing anything apparently. Because nobody can write.
When you're the mayor, you can't do anything politically or anything.
Nobody can come up with a story about a superhero that's now the mayor of the city because he had to dethrone. He ran against Kingpin to like stop the corruption happening in the city. Nobody can write a story of the aftermath of that. Apparently,
yeah, it's very.
You know what it is? You know what? No, I figured it out. It's because it's so hard for us to wrap our mind around a non-corrupt politician that they're like, you know what? There's no way we can let Luke Cage be a main character in his own book because he would think logically. That's not how politics works. No, that's it. We're not doing it.
Well, and it goes back to what I've said before, where it's like, maybe this is their logic. Like, maybe like, oh, the reason why we keep having to have Tony Stark lose his company every few years is because like he would just solve cancer. Or like he would make things too advanced or something like that. Like it's those kind of like weird little things they talk about where if we make things too good, it won't be.
It's gonna be boring.
It's gonna be boring.
For some reason.
If Peter Parker's happy, if he has Mary Jane, there won't be a good plot line. Shut the fuck up, bro. Like
it's like they never heard of the genre of utopian stories. Like it's literally a whole genre because there's good stories to be told in utopias. Like
Like it's crazy. Or like another perfect example is like Hickman finally made the X-Men make sense again with Krakoa. Like even to the point that the Hellfire Gala was an annual event. The Krakoa and the Hellfire Gala made it into Marvel Rivals, and they're still talking about Krakoa and Marvel Rivals, but now Krakoa's gone. Shadows of Destiny, whatever the fuck, that's a thing now. Like it's fine, guys. We're Hickman put all this effort into this and fixed our universe, but we're not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna get rid of it because we think it's boring. Because we would rather have the X-Men be in turmoil than have good shit. Like it just, I don't understand
You know what's crazy about that?
it.
I wasn't following anything Krakoa like until like the aftermath, so I'm not super familiar with anything. But I do know this because I read it from a book from Steve Orlando. The vampires of the world, just like the mutants, got their own place, their own land, their own country, and their country got recognized by the UN as an official sovereign nation before Krakoa did.
Yeah,
Krakoa
sounds about right.
came and
They
left.
rocking with vampires over mutants. Ain't that wild, fam? That's crazy.
Yeah, but I told JP this before. Like the X-Men are destined to be, they're like Sisyphus. Like they're always gonna be on the up, like pushing that boulder up the hill to just let it fall again, because the X-Men are like a established allegory or a metaphor for like shit that's happening
which is such crap. Because here's the thing: one of the best moments in the history of the X-Men was that scene of Cyclops, and I hate Cyclops, but I'll still defend this moment where it was like the first issue of Hoxpox or whatever, when straight up he pulls up to the Fantastic Four and he looks Sue Storm in the eye and go like, my family's like my entire family and my race has been ruined for years, tormented for years. You really think we won't ruin y'all if you mess with us? And I was like, do you know how cool it would be? It's almost like that whole it's like that moment in Black Panther during under Jonathan John Ridley, and then during Captain America Symbol of Truth, where they were like, hey, we're gonna let black people come to Wakanda. We're going to let African Americans immigrate away from America to Wakanda and write about it. It's like, y'all can have cool things happen. Y'all can have dope things change your universe. The problem is, y'all don't want to think about it down the road. Y'all don't want to change your existing Bibles and
the
your
status
lore.
quo.
You don't want to change your status quo too much because it hurts. And it's like, how cool would it be if the world was just a little bit different? Why can't it be a little bit different? It's very odd the way they do things sometimes.
Yeah, no, it I don't know why. Like I know change. A lot of people like always put up a resistance against change, but things that like let's take for example like Dan Slott. Dan Slott took a big swing when he did like the Superior Spider-Man, for example, and people shot on it when he, oh my god, like what is this like body swap Freaky Friday stuff, right? And now in hindsight, people love the Superior Spider-Man run
They really
because
do.
because he took like a bold swing to like tell a a not necessarily something new, but give like this these characters like a new lens to see the world,
Yeah.
right? And he worked, even though he got pushback. You know what Marvel didn't do? Marvel didn't cancel it,
No, they didn't.
right?
Well, and
Superior
also because
Spider-Man,
like the difference with Hickman though was the idea that like he built up enough energy with what's the word, with his Avengers and the Secret Wars and
the whole Secret
all of
War
that
saga.
and the Fantastic Four. And also I feel like CB Cebulski came to him and was like, look, it's gonna be different this time, because previously before CB came in there, that's when All Different Marvel took a crap. And then I think that around that time was when CB came in. And like that's when all the changes started to happen. So it's like Hickman was probably promised it was going to be different, and then it wasn't different. And it was like, well, guess what happens when you listen to the wrong people? And it's that thing of like, I genuinely feel like until these publishers adapt and learn and grow and try new things, we're gonna see what Jim Lee talked about, where manga's kicking our ass, Scholastic's kicking our ass, and the indie is blowing up more and more. Where you see Image, Boom, Vault, Ignition now, all these different publishers coming up and saying, if y'all don't want to tell our tell diverse stories, we'll tell diverse stories. We'll get a whole TV show starring Ashton Kutcher. We'll do whatever the hell we want because y'all don't want to change the world and do new things. And it's like, well, sounds like the world's changing, and it's gonna bite them in the ass when all you have left is a bat, a Superman, and a Wonder Woman. But even then, Wonder Woman's fans are leaving because the creative team's not what they want, and you're losing Wonder Woman fans for the other Wonder Woman book because it's a better jumping on point. It doesn't have hundreds and hundreds of years of lore to dig up, and it's written by a woman that actually cares about the lore.
It's just better overall.
Yeah. And when you look at like a year, you and I have talked about this. When you look at the League of Comic Geeks top rated books of last year, it was one Marvel one shot. It was a Daredevil Christmas thing, I believe, and you had 6 Image books and 3 Absolute books. That's it, because it showed that people are more interested in new jumping on points, new stories, new ideas. And we're seeing a shift to where people genuinely are tired of DC and Marvel giving them the same thing over and over again. And I feel like DC is starting to understand. That's why they brought back Vertigo, but they're not learning the important lessons fast enough. And that's what's going to be a problem here in the future.
Absolutely no, and we talk about it all the time about how the indies are where all of the best storytelling, a lot of the great art is happening because they are letting these people cook.
Yeah.
They're letting them. Oh, you have an idea? Oh, that sounds cool. Go ahead.
It really
You
do
got
like
a
that.
team? We'll put it out. I mean, hell, and now, I mean, some people like me just said, "Fuck the publisher. I'm gonna make it my goddamn self."
Yeah.
You know, and when there's these great stories, like talk about Image with Exquisite Corpses, and then anything Tynion writes.
Damn, I should have grabbed my Exquisite Corpses hat. It just came in the mail today. How about that?
like, and I think we will start to see that shift where DC and Marvel start to finally realize when Tynion is swimming in money like Scrooge McDuck because every one of his books is being optioned for great movies and great television shows.
Like a perfect example is the fact, I don't mess with speculators that much because speculators are toxic and they ruined one of my favorite series, which was Teen Titans Rebirth. But genuinely, if you're ever just bored, get on Key Collector or watch Comic Time 101 on YouTube, and you will see how the numbers jump for different things. Like how Absolute Batman was on the trending top 10 list of books sold 14 times last year. Where there's it was 2,000 plus 9/8 being slabbed by CGC, where they see different books like Beauty because they became an FX show, Sex Criminals, Exquisite Corpses. You're seeing these different books jump up in price. Like I was able to get a textless version, like Virgin Mike Choi cover of Exquisite Corpses #1 for $5. The next day, it jumped to $20, and I was like, ha ha! That bitch slid in the mail. I'm going to Corpse Tour on March 11th. I'm gonna get that bitch signed because I don't give a fuck. And it's like it's one of those things where you see that the narrative is changing, and it shows that maybe manga kind of has it right, where you see that you could have a comic about cooking. You could have a comic about sports. You could have a comic about a whole like one of my favorite Titan titles is The Woods, where just a group of kids get abducted on a field trip and get dropped on an alien moon. And it's like, huh? And like, who thinks of that? And it's just like, you can make
Tynion.
a story out of anything.
Yeah, Tynion.
Like, why
No,
aren't people
absolutely.
thinking of that stuff? It cracks me up.
Well, I said on the podcast so many times. I mean, the comics are the most malleable form of content because you can literally tell every kind of story, and you're absolutely right. And if you want to look at mangas as a building block, not only are they good stories, not only are they any type of stories you want, but you know what manga does? It grabs its readers and keeps them for fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
Volumes upon volumes upon volumes. They will go out and buy it because they want the story.
Yeah, and what's wild too is that like another great thing about the manga situation is that like they sometimes stories just end. Sometimes you don't have hundreds of thousands of issues of a book. Sometimes you have like 10 volumes, it's over. 10 issues, it's over. And they like, it's weird how like they figure that out, but like the other companies have like indie companies have certain things that just end. And like maybe you might bring it back for like a revive one day and it may continue for a little bit, but then it ends. And it's like sometimes a book can just end and it be a banger. And that's not a bad thing. And I feel like people are afraid of that idea that sometimes it's just a one and done, it's a banger, and you ain't gotta worry about it no more. They're afraid of not being a franchise anymore. They're afraid of the money well drying up, and it's like, write another one,
Right?
And
write another one. God damn it!
That's part of like the lack of taking risk by publishers, and you see this in all the media too, like movies. Like nowadays, you go to movie theaters, and out of like 10 movies that are showing, 8 are part of a franchise. They're either prequels, sequels, or reboots, remixes, or an old IP that got resurrected for some reason, right? And in comics is the same thing. Like Marvel and DC rely too much on the status quo, on the continuity, on the history, because the books are tied to sale merch, to IPs being adapted for like general audiences, right? And indie is not bogged down by those details, right? They don't rely on getting stuff passed through legal so it can match like the toy line that they're about to launch, right? Like they don't have to worry about that. They create, and then that gets adapted into something else. They don't have to worry about their characters or the story crossing over other universes or other titles in the same publisher. They don't have to worry. Yeah, they don't have to worry about editors like scratching stories because it retcons or it doesn't go online with the status quo.
Like a perfect example. Like a perfect example is that I always try to tell people is DC ruined Watchmen with before Watchmen and Doomsday Clock. But then you look at what I feel to this day, and y'all can quote me on this, y'all can put it in books, I don't care. Black Hammer by Jeff Lemire is a better Watchmen, and Jeff Lemire knew when to shut up. He knew when to shut up, and I don't think he'll ever touch it again because he knows it was good. Like, yeah, you had a couple like spin-offs because like some people were like wanted to tell stories in the universe. Like you had like the Starman character, and then Barbalian had a prequel and things like that. But like Jeff greenlit it, and then he shut it down when it was done. And like even for like Barbalian Red Planet, one of my favorite comics of all time, 6 issues done. You ain't never gonna touch it again. And or like any of the other ones, it was like 6 issues done. Like it's very noticeable when you have a gem, when you have a perfect encapsulated thing, you just write it and it's done. Now, granted, if you purposely end up on a cliffhanger, you're an asshole. But if you're somebody who has a genuine a perfect example is what's going on with Ignition Press right now. They have like 2 or 3 ongoings they're working on, but then Roots of Madness by Stephanie Williams. They say on the website 6-issue mini, or like they have a couple of other books. They're like 6-issue mini, 6-issue mini. Beauty is an ongoing. like Blood Nation, I forget what it's called, Blood World, something like that. That's an ongoing, but like everything else is miniseries. And I'm like, that's genius because it shows
Yeah.
you're gonna be done and you're not gonna lie to nobody. And I feel like there needs to be more transparency when it comes to things, and that will create
Absolutely.
longevity when it comes to that. But then, like, DC played this stupid game recently that really annoyed me, where they were like, hey, if you buy enough, we'll extend it. We're not going to tell you we're going to extend it, but we'll extend it. That's what happened with Green Arrow.
Yep.
But then they told Brandon Thomas the same thing with Black Lightning, and Black Lightning didn't get enough support. And then Green Arrow finally fell off enough, and Green Arrow got canceled. And it's like, it's a battle. And the last thing that I like that me and Joseph Village talked about yesterday was there is a issue when it comes to the diversity slash afraid of trying new things thing, where you have Batman. You were told to like Batman at a young age. You connected with that story because whether people want to admit it or not, cisgendered straight white male is the default of America. It's the default of society. When you boot up a Dark Souls game, your starting character is going to be a cis het white male until you turn it into a weird green frog looking dude for your no hit run. And that is genuinely what society looks at. So we as a society have imprinted on the white man. We have imprinted on white characters to be our superheroes. Like, I say what you will about how good James Gunn's Superman is. The kid was looking at the white man to come save him. Even if Superman's all powerful, he was looking at Superman to come save him because he was taught that that was the default. And that's how a lot of society treats it because, like, that's what you're taught to accept. So the issue that a lot of marginalized characters have is when they like the back characters or the white characters in general. That was the default for so long. White people can choose the default and not have to worry about it because they know their stuff is safe. They don't have to actively choose the marginalized character. Versus with us, we crave representation. We want representation. So if anything, we have to work doubly as hard, if not triply, quadruply, because people believe that black culture, women culture, like Spanish culture, all these different cultures don't have to be opted into because they're not white culture. They're not the default culture. They're an experience they have to like think of. It was funny too because somebody commented on the Comics Unmasked comment section on Spotify for last week. They said, I liked the Doorman episode of Wonder Man, but I feel like it was a bit geared too much to a black audience. And that tells you right there that because they saw a black experience being showcased, they couldn't grasp it. They couldn't attach themselves to it because they were taught that, oh, that's not a white man on screen. That's not my story. That's not for me to enjoy. Versus with us, we were always taught that white man is all you're ever gonna get. You better enjoy that white man. You better enjoy that story.
Another
I'm glad
example.
I'm not that white.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
another way like this manifests is how fans adopt characters as their own, as part of their culture, even when they don't necessarily represent their race on screen, right? And a perfect example of that is when you call a character black coded or color coded, right? Like the classic example is like Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Like everybody accepts Piccolo like if he was like a human, he would be like a black guy because he's black coded,
He'd
right?
be
But
invited to
that's
the cookout.
No, he would just be black because the Namekians were definitely
right.
the Namekians were definitely like inspired by black culture or at the very least Native American culture because they were slaves. They were taught that they were shown as very nomadic people that were like just living their best life until Frieza pulled up.
But that's the thing, like that's reading in the subtext, right? Like when you actually like break it down. But even without doing that, fans that are people of color attach themselves to those characters or adopt those characters even without like deconstructing how they were inspired or how they're written because of the lack of representation.
Exactly.
That's how this has manifested. And then white people that are uncomfortable when they see like people of color, people from other cultures or backgrounds being represented, they see it as pandering or catering to other people because they've been conditioned to see white culture or white skins as the default, like you say. That's how these things manifest. Like somebody sees like the Wonder Man's family, right? They were not just black, they were Haitian too, right? And people, oh, they're pandering to like immigrants or whatever. No, it's just happened.
They're
They just happen to be Haitian.
Or
They
like,
just happen to
what's
be Haitian.
so funny about the Wonder Man situation is that like people were so upset about Wonder Man being black, and I'm like, show me one Simon Williams fan. Show me, like, genuinely, unless you are like the oldest white man in the comic store, like genuinely, show me.
I remember when my Wonder Man was white.
Because,
it was the best time ever.
Because if you were such a diehard Wonder Man fan, why weren't you bitching and moaning when Tony Stark didn't make a Vision's mind be based off of Wonder Man? Why weren't you bitching back then? Why weren't you upset when Vision's mind wasn't based off of Simon Williams? The answer is you didn't give a crap. You didn't care.
Or they didn't know.
Well, they didn't know because they're not
they
reading the damn book.
Shit enough to read. Exactly.
And it's like that's what's so funny is that like people get so like granted. Now, will I admit it isn't a little jarring when the Wonder Man TV show is coming out and they announce a Wonder Man miniseries and it's like, huh? Like that's a little jarring at times, but I would prefer that over what DC did when the Jason Momoa movie was coming out and they made Dan Abnett and the art team make white ass Arthur Curry have Samoan tattoos for a little bit. That was very jarring. I would prefer a whole ass race change over just ignoring the race change or the weird similarity. Then you could have gave them the beard back or the long hair, fine, cool. But the minute you gave white ass mayonnaise Arthur Curry Samoan tattoos, I was kind of sitting here like, oh no. Especially when we had like Stefan Sejic doing the art, I'm like, oh, this still
that went through. You know how many levels that went through of approval? Like, just think about that for a second. Yeah. There was at least 10 people that were like, white guy with Samoan tattoos, fine.
Send it. Yeah.
Let it roll. Let it roll. Like
wait, does he look kind of like Momoa? No? All right, still send it. It's fine. Just send it. Just send it.
Let me tell you something.
And then the tattoos disappeared once he shaved the beard off. It was like what?
He shed the skin. He shed the skin. The scales, he shed the scales and
he said, "I'll show you Aquaman. Watch this."
It was so funny too because the minute Absolute Power happened and he went back to being short hair, I was like, "Hey, yo, Arthur, you got them tattoos still, bro?" It's like, what happened?
Well, no, but listen. This might be a little off topic and a little spicy too, but this is generally like a white people thing because I'm in the army, right? And every time I run into like a white guy in the army that has Samoan tattoos, I just know without asking that they did a tour in Hawaii. They were stationed in Hawaii. They loved Hawaii so much they had to get Hawaiian tattoos, and they never been back. They don't plan on ever going back, but because they were there, oh, let me submerge myself in the culture.
You'll find that
and they just go to a tattoo shop.
Yeah, they go to and they get a random
exactly. They get stationed in Japan. Same thing. They come back with Japan tattoos. They get stationed in Hawaii. They come back with Hawaiian tattoos, and so forth, so on. It's a very, 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 very like a white people thing.
It's to keep it topical because it's Super Bowl weekend. I remember when D.L. Huey was asked his opinion on the situation with Bad Bunny doing the Super Bowl, and he was like, "Y'all eat Mexican food, don't you? You like white people taco night, don't you? So why are you upset that somebody who was born here gets to showcase their culture? You like to absorb their culture on your time.
Yep.
Why
And on
can't
your terms.
why can't you enjoy their culture all the time when it's not sanctioned by you? When
Because
somebody
they're not doing it right.
like
They're not doing it right.
Jesus, and it's just like
They're forcing this on us. They're forcing me into.
You forced
what?
white people
Go.
on us for centuries. What do you mean, bro?
Go watch your all redneck. I mean all white. I mean all right. Super Bowl halftime with Kid Rock and all those other people. Go have fun with that.
And it was so.
I mean,
it blows my mind, bro. And what's I think my favorite gotcha for the people who get so upset about like the like perfect example Miles Morales. Like they'll say, "Oh, Stan Lee did hit Spider-Man's mask that way anybody could imprint on him and feel represented." And like it even goes back to the Jamie Foxx line of like, "Oh, I thought you were black, man."
I love
and
that.
it's
Those are
like
the best lines of that whole movie.
and my favorite response to that is, okay, cool. So like you can read Miles' books because he has the same mask, right? Shut the fuck up.
No. That's not how that works. Absolutely not. Wrong. No, it's bad. And you know, and I am not oblivious to the fact that I am very Caucasian, but I do have Jewish roots and they don't like us either. So I see it with a complete separate lens because I can most cases walk around and not get racially profiled. But the second someone finds out I'm Jewish, it's like, oh,
the jokes
you must be
open
a
the
lawyer.
floodgates.
You got
Right.
you go with
Well,
money,
and it's so funny too because like people forget that like Jewish people built the comic industry. Like genuinely, y'all were the only people. Like there's this great documentary that I showed in the Discord server that I need to show again here soon, where it's called Comic Book Superheroes Unmasked, which is where I got the name of the podcast from. Where like it was narrated by Keith David, and there's this line by a comic book historian where he talks about how when World War I was going on and World War II was going on, or just in that era, like between the two wars, where like the only people you could hire to write and draw books because other people had higher paying jobs were Jewish people, and they were the only ones who would work cheap, and you would hire them. And then like they would give you ideas and new things, and you would scam them out of the profits, and they would keep working and working and working. And it's kind of a great parallel to how America was for a hot minute, where we were milking Spanish people for all high and dry, and then we got rid of them, and we're starting to get rid of them. And it's like it's so funny how we profit off of marginalized people over so many eras of our country, but we don't want to actually just let them be represented the way they want to.
We don't even want to acknowledge the fact that the reason they're here is because we destabilize their countries, right? We ransack the resources of their countries, and we rob them. We rob them of all opportunities, financially, politically, right? And then they end up here because this is where all those resources go, and we don't even want to acknowledge that.
That's why when people tell me that like comic books aren't political, I'm like, you're so dumb. Because genuinely, bro, like, like genuinely,
we did almost an entire episode on that.
I love just quoting that documentary because it's my favorite thing to tell people that comics have always been political. Because if comics have not always been political, why did a copy of Superman #1 just sell for $15 billion? Why is that book so rare? Because Bucky Barnes told you to sell off your extra scrap paper for the war effort for war bonds, because
they would have like coupons for you to buy war bonds in it.
You would take your war bonds and you would sell. Like, your mom would come in your room and grab your extra scrap paper. She would get rid of those damn comic books and give it to the war effort. Or why is it that you stop seeing vampires and werewolves and Batman and Robin got girlfriends and Steve Trevor started to be more prominent in Wonder Woman books? Because of the comics code. Why?
Fucking McCarthy and what was his name? Roger
Frederick Wortham.
Wortham, yeah. Like,
And it's just like, it's a situation like, or when you look a little bit further down the road during the Comics Code, where Stan Lee was reached out to by a sitting congressman, like, hey, we're kind of having a drug epidemic. Can you make a comic book about the drug epidemic? And he was like, sure, I'll make a whole story about how Harry Osborn's doing drugs. And the Comics Code said, no, you can't do it. And it's like, but it's supposed to warn people to not do drugs. You can't do it because it has drugs in it. What? A congressman just told me to do it. We don't care. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And when people trying to say like comic books aren't political, I'm like, bro, y'all don't make y'all so dumb. Y'all so dumb.
I mean, and as we said on this podcast numerous times, everything is political. If you don't believe that, you're wrong.
Exactly.
I mean, and to say that, oh, let's stop making comics political. Have you read an X-Men book?
Oof.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, me and you lost it. We were talking about that on here. We were like,
we said it before many times. Like all these people,
an X-Men book.
all these people that say don't make my comics political, and they consider themselves like readers or fans for like their lives or for however long they've been reading. I'm sorry, but all this stuff just goes over your head. Like you fail to like be literate, and that's one of the things that we said in the first episode of this year. Like the things we were leaving behind in 2025, like we're leaving behind fucking illiterates. Like if you read comics and you don't see the political themes and tones or undertones in these stories, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna hold your hand anymore. I'm not gonna explain this to you anymore.
What if I told you that Kingdom Come by Mark Waid is political? literally starts with a fucking Catholic priest reading the Bible to Wesley Dodds. Oh, that's not political. That's about God, and that's not political.
Bro, Kingdom Come is like the Book of Revelation.
Literally,
if it happened in DC Comics.
Like, because I was just listening to because Mark Waid and Alex Ross just teamed with Penguin Random House to make Kingdom Come into an audio drama, and I was listening to that shit on my way into work this morning, and I'm like, this is really fucking good. I don't remember the book being this good, and like freaking like the Spectre shows up and whisk this dude away, and freaking Magog and Parasite and Captain Atom explodes, and it's like, oh,
there are so many political topics in Kingdom Come, like Wonder Woman being exiled for not being a good representative, a good ambassador, right? Because she didn't get to like fix men's world, so she says, "Oh, you can't be our Wonder Woman anymore," and she gets exiled from Themyscira. Batman being a totalitarian in Gotham. Where like he has robots flying around, like it's super dystopian, right? Like,
but that's not political. That's not political.
That's not political.
Black people are political. That's political. Like, bro, kill me. Like, it doesn't make any damn sense, bro.
Well, because you know what it is, and I always boils back down to this: majority of people who are making content like that or who are misrepresenting different characters, it's because they're not intelligent enough to understand what they're reading. Or at least comprehend it. Like there's an actual stat. I think it's like what 42% of adults read at like a 4th grade level or some shit. It's bad. Like we posted on the podcast, and like all these people, like you look at like the Punisher. How long has the Punisher been around? And you still got people misrepresenting what the Punisher is, even after the comics.
The creator,
straight up said it.
The creator of the Punisher came out and said, the Punisher hates cops, and cops still use his symbol. Like I remember when Born Again came out, and motherfucker was killing cops, and he's like, they don't like police officers, Brandon Disney hates cops. Punisher hates cops, bro. Like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it just
let me go back to like what you were saying about people not being smart. That could be like 100% the case, right? I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I heard somebody saying that the way content is created, like online, forget about movies or shows, but like the way content is created by content creators is shifted to being more reactionary than actually being like a review or a breakdown or an explanation in depth of the media, because like everybody's rushing to like get on screen and tell you like their opinion or their reaction or what happened, rather than actually absorbing the story, taking the time to like break down the theme, the
Well,
tones, the undertones.
it's because they noticed attention spans were smaller. They noticed
That's
people have,
one.
and also like say what you will about them, like the issue, like the algorithms push out smaller, shorter content.
Yeah.
So it's that
That's two.
reaction type thing. Because a perfect example is I've been trying to post more on Instagram because Instagram has been like giving me more like clout and working with me to like connect with different publishers. And a perfect example is YouTube and Instagram both. YouTube doesn't let you post a clip above 3 minutes, otherwise it's just a whole YouTube video. It will be considered a short. But B, Instagram straight up says, warning: if your clip is over 3 minutes, it will not be pushed outside of your follower base. And it's like, wow, so you're gearing people to post short reactionary based content
It,
because
it,
it garners clicks.
Yeah, it used to be that their video was just gonna get cut off at 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, you can do whatever you want, which is not gonna push it, and that's the problem. Like, let me get this point across. Like before, whenever before reaction content was a thing, or content was like in the format of reactions. If you wanted to check what people were saying about an album, you have to like find reading reviews about somebody like sat down, listened to the album, and wrote a review about it, right? You check the review and you're like, okay, cool. You know what reviews are now? People play the album, they listen to it on camera, and then react to it. That's their review of it. They tell you
Blind
on the spot.
react.
They tell you on the spot what they think, what are their first thoughts, right? There's no, oh, let me look into like who did the drums here, who did the synthetic this, or who mixed this, or who's the producer on that. No, that's like,
how do I feel right now?
Yeah, right. and that's exactly the same for like comic books, for example. People get on new comic book day and they completely spoil the comic book by telling you what happened, or they give you like quick thoughts on the comic book. They don't even tell you who wrote it,
or
who is the artist, who is the colorist.
To expand on that too, the funniest thing that I learned from interviewing a shop owner on the podcast recently was he told me, I've had great sales pop off for like Absolute Batman, DCKO, the Ultimate Comics, etc., because of new comic book day videos. And but those are the only books selling, because those are the only books that are being like talked about in new comic book day videos. That's why I made a video like last month where I was like, hey, I'm gonna challenge this person, pick up an indie book, pick up an image book, a vault book, an IDW book, whatever, because now we are influencers. Now we are influencing the culture, because genuinely people here were only grabbing these, and what the shop owner said is the people are seeing those books as the only books worth investing in. And that's a big issue as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a whole conversation about this. Like my friend Who Reviews, he made a comment a month ago saying that he was tired of seeing like young white men or young white boys like showing or talking about the same books every Wednesday, and that spiral into like a whole hit campaign, like a diss campaign on my boy because they took it like they turned into like, oh, comics are for everybody, when they felt like young white men were being attacked, like young white men were being displaced from the fandom. Young white men were being
you know what I call that phenomenon? You know what I call that phenomenon right there? I call that the all lives matter phenomenon.
What I say? Oh my god!
You missed the point of the message. You missed the point of the message where it feels like the same people are saying the same thing over and over again, and you got offended rather than hearing the message. It's the same thing with my buddy Nemo, who put out a whole video of talking about the fact that if your favorite superhero is Peter Parker Spider-Man, that's essentially a red flag, because it shows that you don't have any other depth. It shows that you think a character who steals a lot of his material from other people and other marginalized groups as relatable, when Tom Holland Spider-Man is just Miles Morales bleached, if we want to keep it a stack. It's one of those things of like, people saw that, like, the opening line of the video, got mad and didn't listen and didn't think for themselves, and made responses, made different things, and they didn't listen to what the fuck people were saying. You just fed the algorithm and listened to the first 5 seconds or whatever it was clipped as, and it's like, because you who had a point, like, genuinely, all you saw was Cosmic, this person, that person, but the difference between Cosmic, this person, and that person, Cosmic is a dime a dozen, where he is an actual, genuinely, like, hands down, amazing ally white man, versus the other guys who will say, "Oh, I don't see color, we don't talk about politics."
Cosmic was in Denver last week in an ICE protest.
He went to his first ever protest, and then came back and made a follow-up video saying ICE isn't still out, like, ICE isn't out yet, like free Palestine, all this, and I was like, damn,
somebody that has no bone, no dog in the fight, no dog in the fight.
He was the one
out of his way.
For me to
him, his girlfriend, and what's his other name, Brandon Speed Sultan, were outside in the cold protesting ICE in Denver.
But then you have the other dudes, the other white dudes on comic talk that'll be like, I don't want to talk about politics and comic books. Why can't I just enjoy my Batman and my X-Men? What? First of all, what? And it's like,
exactly.
It's one of those things of like, when you, because, and like, I hate to point this out because they're gonna get upset, but genuinely, it's because you live in a state of privilege. You don't have to exit your bubble of privilege to go elsewhere and see the actual things that are going on in society and think critically. Meanwhile, the rest of us had to wake up to our president putting Barack and Michelle Obama on gorillas. And it's like, the rest of us have to deal with the fallout of America and the fallout of real world situations and think critically. Yeah. But if you look at someone like Cosmic, who decided to venture outside of the of his safety and his privilege bubble, and said, I'm gonna think for myself, and it was groundbreaking. Because he said I could tell people this before I explained how pre-orders work. He didn't know that was a thing,
and he been buying books for years, because we actually live in the same area. When I lived in Florida, we had like the same LCS. I think it was called TBS Comics. Yeah. We saw each other on Wednesdays all the time.
He would just I'm gonna grab that, I'm gonna grab that, I'm gonna grab. That's all his mind would think, is that I'm gonna grab that, I'm gonna grab that. He didn't understand that pre-orders mean everything, and he didn't comprehend that. So when I made the video talking about that we were getting close to 1,000 days, man's mind broke, and he was like, I'm gonna make a video to talk about this. And he ended up getting more views than me because he has a larger platform, but also because people are more willing to hear it from a white mouth than a black mouth. And that's a fact of life.
And this goes back to that what you're saying earlier, that Marvel and DC don't take the time, don't put in the resources to educate their customers. Yep. Right? Like, somebody that's been buying books for years, multiple times a week, didn't know what final order cutoff was, didn't know what pre-orders were for. Right?
Isn't that crazy?
No, and you know, as something like I said earlier, like I understand that I have very white skin. I am very much a white person, but I can objectively look at shit that's happening and go, that's fucked up. Most people seem to be like, oh well, I didn't notice it. It's fine. Everything's fine, right? Maybe for you, motherfucker. But there's a lot of people out here struggling. And it's not, and when you look at, especially in the comic book industry, like, they have such an opportunity to give a voice to the downtrodden, to the minorities, to people who are not the status quo. And indie comics are absolutely doing that a lot more. And shout out to indie creators, because you're the ones who are really telling the right stories right now. But
you want to know
Marvel and
why
DC
that
with those
is?
platforms, they could do
You want to
it.
know why that is? It's because Image Comics was founded by people of color and white men that cared about people of color. That is why you had Jim Lee, you had Walsh Portaggio, and then you had Todd McFarlane make the most groundbreaking move ever and make a black man the star of the longest running superhero comic book from an indie publisher ever. And people still don't think about that. That Spawn is black.
Wait, Spawn's black?
Yeah.
What? Oh my god! All right, that's it. Cancel my subscription to Spawn. I can't support it now. That's it.
No, because now they can go read King Spawn because King Spawn's based off of King Arthur, so I can go hide over there and not worry about Spawn. And it's like,
oh Jesus. No, and it's just sad that like there's a lot of people that won't even touch these topics because they're worried about how people will take what they're saying. Well, I don't give a flying fuck if people don't want to hear what I have to say, but I'm still gonna fucking say it anyways. And this whole episode, to the point where me and you, I was literally joking with you before. I was like, what do we even call this episode? Is this is the comic industry racist? I mean, we can be that kind of divisive because that's kind of what we're getting across here.
It's funny too because I remember a few weeks ago somebody tried to cancel me by using a meme that I made where I said I brought that old picture of Kanye West saying George Bush doesn't like black people, and I put DC Comics doesn't like black people, but no one's yet to prove me wrong.
Funny how that works.
It's kind of wild.
Oh no! It's on you to prove yourself right.
Apparently,
they don't gotta prove you wrong.
It's so funny because like people will say oh that was fucked up, and it's like, is it fucked up or is it the truth? Because if you look at Twitter, the what people say that DC Comics stands for discrimination comics. So like I don't know, bro. Like you literally can type into Twitter discrimination comic strikes again and you will get hits. That's how wild it is, bro. Like it's that kind of situation.
Listen, I'm sorry, but they're not beating the allegations, and you can put that as the title of this video. Like Marvel and DC
well,
are
it's funny
not
because
beating the
Josie Village
allegations.
even said that last night that like if the Dakota incident doesn't sell well, DC will never beat the allegations again. And it's like,
bro, the Dakota. Okay, DC right now is in a position where after the Dakota incident one shot comes out, they literally have an open lane to relaunch the milestone characters, or like just launch them into like DC, right? the next launch initiative is called Next Level. It's basically all in Act 2. And you're gonna have like 5 or 6 different titles, right? Static just showed up in DC Comics, in main continuity DC Comics. For better or worse, he's there, right? You're about to explain how Milestone happened, right? He's like the history, the origins of all the milestone characters, or specifically the Dakota incident that spawned the Milestone characters, right? You can take advantage of all the people that's gonna come in and show some interest and support this universe that you're co-opting, and launch a bunch of books, right? Bring back
hardware,
Static, Icon, hardware, or even do what was it called? The
Blood Syndicate.
Yeah, the Blood Syndicate. You can take advantage and bring those characters back and tell stories about characters of color, specifically black characters. If they don't, they're not just like missing out. They're deliberately not like deciding not to.
Are any of those titles Batman?
No.
Then no. Then no. Then no. Then no.
Is Batman gonna be in Static? No. Then I don't want it. Don't do it. Cancel it.
You know, I remember, what was it? Right as Tynan left Detective Comics, they spun off Orphan, Cassandra Cain, Katana, Black Lightning, and Duke Thomas off into a new book called Batman and the Outsiders, which Batman and the Outsiders has been a book around since the 70s, but 9 times out of 10 there's usually some other like people mixed in besides just Batman and people of color. There's like Geoforce and other people like that here and there. But like when that book was announced, all you could see when you look at that cover is Batman and the minorities. And
Batman and minorities. That's what I was gonna say.
and I legit I remember making multiple videos or talking about it on my old show Panel to Panel where I literally would just call it Batman and the minorities because it's like what else is that besides you couldn't sell a book with minority characters so you put Batman in it, and it's like that's a bad look, bruh. That's a bad look where you don't want to educate people about how pre-orders work. You don't want to actually promote books, but you want Batman in it, so you're gonna put Batman in it, and it's just like. Ugh.
And it happened again with the last run of the Outsiders, which was like not the real Outsiders. It was like a new Outsiders that had like a whole different mission, and he had Jace Fox, I think, Batwoman, right? Jewish lesbian character, a black character, and then it had what's her name? It was one of the characters from Planetary. I can't remember the drummer, but it wasn't the original drummer. It was a female character from Planetary that co-opted the drummer mantle, if you will. The book got canceled at 11 issues because he stopped selling. I'm telling you, one day in the future, I will actually dissect and break down everything that Kelly and Lansing did for that series because it was so freaking meta. But he had like minority characters on it, so
it was
nobody cared to promote it.
It was 11 issues. It was
11 issues. When's the last time you heard a run stopped at 11 issues?
You know, like the idea of 11 issues is insane. You know, you had Luke Fox, KK, and the drummer. Like, and it's like, that's the best you got, bruh. That's the best you got for an Outsiders. Like that reminds me of like when they randomly made a new Defenders and it had like a bunch of just random Avengers rejects. It's like this isn't the Outsiders. This is some random shit y'all just slapped a label on. Like this ain't even the real shit. It is just like
it's easy to sell.
Okay. In those two cases, that was done deliberately because these Outsiders were actually telling like this meta commentary on DC Comics as a publisher. If you go through the story, like they have like a criticism and commentary on like what's canon on the DC universe, on the multiverse, on continuity. Like each issue is addressing different, you could say, like problems that DC has as a publisher. And those Defenders you're talking about, those are Al Ewing Defenders, where he had 2 volumes where he basically reconstructed the
Ultimates,
the makeup of the universes in Marvel. It was insane. It was like I just read both of those, and it's like mind blowing. If you think Absolute Martian Manhunter was trippy and like psychedelic, Defenders by Al Ewing is even crazy.
Defenders Beyond, like because you can tell Al Ewing. I want to meet this man one day. I want to give him a hug because genuinely, it feels like Al Ewing believes in so many minor characters. He believes in actually move like that book right there. Yeah, like genuinely, it feels like Al Ewing wants to fix the Marvel universe, but nobody will let him. Or he really cares about both DC and Marvel cosmology, and nobody will let him cook the way he wants to. I will say this to the day I die. Al Ewing's Ultimates was the strongest Avengers team ever put on a book, and they let it die, and it pisses me off. That team, that lineup, could have been your like Marvel Phase 4. Like yes, it's sad that Chad died, but that lineup could have just been your Phase 4, Phase 5, whatever. Carol, T'Challa, Adam Brashear, Monica Rambeau and America Chavez. The strongest lineup you could have ever had on a title ever in the history of comic books.
What?
And you let that die. What?
Well, because there's no Iron Man, there's no Peter Parker, there's no white Captain America. I mean Steve Rogers.
So sad.
No,
the only white person you have is a white woman, and my heart breaks for Carol Danvers all the time, bro. Because genuinely, I remember during Comicsgate when right after Civil War II happened, and I wanna give Margaret Stoll the biggest hug one day and apologize on behalf of the comic community, because that woman went through so much hell. Because every issue you had Comics Gators tearing it apart, calling Carol Carl Danvers instead of Carol Danvers because she was in a very masculine presenting costume. And it's like, bro, y'all sound so fucking dumb. Like, y'all are so ready to goon off of a comic book that y'all can't just be down with a militaristic style Wonder Woman equivalent that's kicking ass and taking names, that y'all want to call her Carl instead of Carol. It just breaks my fucking heart, bro.
No, it's sad. That's a treatment that a lot of, like, we're talking about like Stephanie Phillips, and how like there are is a big section of the community that is just gonna boycott Daredevil because she's writing it. It's like, who the fuck do you think you are? I understand that you decided to pick choose what little tiny parts of Daredevil that you want to identify with. Oh, but he's Catholic. And
here's my biggest thing. Like Stephanie Phillips wouldn't literally have her indie darling being sold off to Netflix to make into a TV show if she wasn't a good writer. If like genuinely, I've only read her Grimm, and I think I read one Spider-Gwen issue in passing at the shop once. But genuinely, she is so goddamn talented. But because they saw alt woman, they're like, that's a problem. And I'm like, bro,
how the hell can she write a book
Let me
about
tell
a
you-
white man who fights people? That makes no sense.
Let me tell you the perfect example out of this, right? You know, she be on TikTok, like promoting her stuff or making fun of like the comment section and stuff like that, right? I have this mutual that we was talking on this live stream, and he started asking people if they were gonna be like buying into the new Daredevil series. And then after some people answer, he said, "You know what? I don't know about Stephanie Phillips. I think she's overrated." And I'm like, hold on. I haven't read that much Stephanie Phillips, but I have read. I liked like her Harley Quinn, her Red Before Black, some of the Phoenix issues, right? Okay. I ask, oh, what have you read that you didn't like, that you think she's overrated? My boy went, and then finally he said, you know what? I guess I haven't really read that much from her. I just don't
Shut the fuck up.
Bro, you know what? Like it boiled down to, he didn't like that she was that he saw her promote her stuff so much on social media. I'm like, bro,
do you know how much teeth like Stephanie and like Mark like how much like we are so grateful for people like Stephanie, for people like Rodney Barnes, for people like if you go look at Instagram is like full of people trying so hard, or Twitter, because or Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder was the one who started to convince people that going on podcasts is okay. If it weren't for these individuals encouraging like their peers to trust in content creators, we wouldn't have some of the information we would. We'd have back alley con rumors and things of that nature of certain things. I remember Linkara did a fucking retrospective on the New 52 a number of years ago, and he was like, "Oh, all of it is like comicbook.com and comic book resources, back alley con reports, and how the New 52 crumbled in 5 minutes, and Gail Simone got fired and brought back within 24 hours, and all this, that, and the third." And it's like, how crazy would it have been if that stuff existed during the age of social media where like creators felt confident enough to expose the bullshit. Imagine if all the boys club nonsense that was exposed from DC existed in the age of social media. Motherfuckers would have got found out real quick, and we wouldn't have some of the people like Scott Lobdell running around at DC as long as he did. Like that's what's crazy is that like people want to get mad that Stephanie Phillips is doing
Dandidio, Joe Quesada, like all these folks,
like
they would have been out on their ass sooner than they were.
It's just like it's crazy because genuinely we wouldn't have the ability to have what we have now. Like people get so upset at what she's doing. Do you, or Gail Simone? Gail Simone,
bro, it's just because she's a woman. It's because she's a woman. She's a woman. She's good. She's popular, and she's out here being proud and vocal about her stuff. And men get uncomfortable with it to the point that say, "Oh, she's overrated." Bro, literally have not read anything from her.
My biggest thing that I always laugh at when people get mad about like women doing their thing, like a perfect example is that like I don't read a ton of like Wonder Woman. I don't read a ton of women characters pretty much at all. Like I'll read a book here and there if it's really good. Like I read Stephanie Phillips' Grimm because I wanted to know her indie shit, or like I read Beauty because I thought I wanted to talk to Ignition and stuff like that. But it's like I don't go out of my way to because I have my own favorites that I read. I have my own pools that I will not. But am I ever going to stop a woman from promoting their stuff or doing their own thing and grinding? No. Why do I have anything to do with your shit when I have my own shit going on? Why would I have any issue with you doing your own thing over there as long as I can do my own thing over here? Like, perfect example, I'm about to make a video because there was this dumb brother who made a video still bitching about the Mount Rushmore of comics. And I'm like, bro, I've read a little.
I know what you're talking about.
Because KD made a response to it. And I'm gonna like talk about it. And I'm like, bro, I've read a little bit of Simone, a little bit of Rucka, and I'm just now going back and reading Perez because I was bored a little bit at work today. I have a wealth of knowledge from documentaries about Diana. And my big sister is one of the biggest Diana fans there is. So I know about Diana from her. If you look back at my videos from like right around 22, 21 when King was announced to be taking over Wonder Woman, I popped off because of how angry I was about Trinity. And then I moved on because I said my piece and I went back talking about black shit because black shit is where my heart is. Talking about indie books is where my heart is, and my favorite characters is what I got going on. But people don't want to let women do their own thing, and they want to be like, "Oh, we're gonna like talk shit and say, oh, you don't know nothing about comics. You're not a real fan, bro." I don't got time for that. I'm over here the
only problem they have.
I just got said this. A publisher was like, "Hey, do you want to read this?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was a great read about a biracial girl killing demons and vampires and shit. It was a fun read. Would I buy a lot of it? Probably not. Will I encourage others to? Sure. I'll probably read it because I identify with the character and I'll probably get the volumes for it. But like if there was another like female character, I'm not gonna go out of my way to read all of it, but I'll still promote it because like I want to help you out. Like, that's what's so crazy is that sometimes shit ain't for you, and that's okay. Like, Ms. Marvel. There were so many uppity motherfuckers who were getting mad Ms. Marvel getting a TV show. They were trashing it, talking about why is it all about Muslim culture and all this, that, and the third. Or like, I was like, bro, it ain't for you, so who the fuck cares? Genuinely, who the fuck cares?
I got slaughtered when I started talking about that show because I went out and said that the casting of Miss Marvel is arguably, I didn't say is, arguably the best casting they've ever had in Marvel.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about representation, it's the best representation, period. And I was getting massacred. Like I was the worst person on the planet for saying, so you're telling me she's a better cast than Tony Stark and Iron Man?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she is the character.
Yeah.
Now, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is probably the one exception to that. and maybe Chris Evans.
I
Because
would
he didn't
argue.
want to be
I would argue
Captain America.
right. Like I would argue that Captain America, like Chris Evans, is pretty spot on. I would argue that RDJ made Iron Man what he is today. But prior to RDJ, you couldn't tell me that Bendis' New Avengers, Iron Man, and Tony Stark and RDJ are the same person. You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell.
They're not.
You couldn't tell me '90s Iron Man and RDJ are the same person. You couldn't tell me like the further you go back, they're not the same person. Now, granted, once RDJ came out, did Bendis' Iron Man become RDJ? Yes. You can like one of my favorite jokes was during Invincible Iron Man, like Tony was in jail or some shit, or and like in like Doctor Strange comes to visit him and they're working on some shit and Tony Stark makes an auto zone joke. He's like, "Get in the zone, auto zone," and freaking and Doctor Strange rolls his eyes, and it's like that's some RDJ Bendis.
That's
shit.
RDJ.
That's some, like you would have never heard that at
you could say
Mustache
Iron
Mustache Bros. It's like that is some
Yeah.
shit that Bendis made up to tie into the current like RDJ version. But if you go look at Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 or Marvel Ultimate Alliance and like listen to how Stark talks in those, it's because they were going off the comics of that era, and none of it was remotely like that. Or like another great example is the Invincible Iron Man animated movie. RDJ and that nowhere similar. It's a whole different ball game, and it's like that's why I agree with you that Kamala was perfect, and it's like y'all are missing out on opportunities with her because that girl is getting too damn old, and you're about to fuck it up. And it's so sad what they've done by wasting the opportunities with the Young Avengers because y'all wasted Eli and Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's nowhere to be found. You're wasting all this time trying to get Vision Quest and off the ground to get the twins together. Hulkling is nowhere to be found and is apparently gonna be in Vision
Where's
Quest.
America Chavez? Where's America Chavez?
Where's America Chavez? I think Sam Raimi butchered America Chavez so badly. Xochitl Gomez could have been great as America Chavez. I don't think she was the right person for America Chavez, but if she would have bulked up more and actually was a fucking like sassy ass like person, like you could have had her be America Chavez, but she wasn't the right pick for it. And they turned, quite frankly, ironically enough, the more masculine, like front runner badass bitch that America Chavez is supposed to be into a damsel in distress. It pissed me the fuck off because I'm like, America Chavez would walk in this room and punch the shit out of Xochitl Gomez. Like genuinely, she's like, "Who the fuck? Like, what are you doing? You don't need Doctor Strange. You can do this yourself. You can open some walls and dip. You don't need this motherfucker. You don't need him. Like that's how America Chavez would actually be." And it was just like, what is this? And it's just like that. But then you look at Kamala, and that was perfect to a T. And it's so sad because we're watching all these girls grow up. Freaking
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop's pregnant, and you're like, that's not a young Avenger. What?
She's supposed to be like 16. Right. Like, wait a minute.
She like graduated like high school or whatever. But it's it's to a point where like she's like in her early 30s, and like she's a new Avenger now, not a young Avenger. Goddamn it! Like
I guess that's what they're going to. They skip the whole young Avengers. They're just gonna do the new Avengers.
No. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna call it the Champions and be done with it. It's horrible decision. I don't want that, but mark my words.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna fucking happen.
Well, no, because like honestly, and here's what kind of blows my mind and why I feel like Marvel's also kind of struggling when it comes to like stagnation is they introduced another new group of champions that's
new champions
that's younger than Ms. Marvel and Miles, where you have like Moon Squire and another vampire kid who's not Brielle and Spider Boy. Spider Boy, like if there's one thing that I would ever punch Dan Slott for, it's Spider Boy, because that shit right there gave so many white Miles racist haters like validity to where now they can say Spider Boy will take over for Spider-Man, not Miles Morales. and it pisses me off to this day. But it's like that whole new generation of sidekicks. It's like how Damien and John were, where now you have a whole other group of sidekicks that is behind the other group of sidekicks, and it's like, why don't you just let Hawkeye, like Kate and Wiccan and Speed and Eli all be the new Avengers? Why, like just call it the new Avengers?
Because they already wasted the new Avengers with fucking the Thunderbolts.
Well, yeah, but like I'm talking about also like with the comics, where it's like,
okay.
because every few years they'll do like a Young Avengers reunion book or some shit, but they did West Coast Avengers a while back with Kate in America, but it's like, just call it the new Avengers. Just call it the new Avengers. Like, new Avengers sold like hotcakes back in the day, and then if it doesn't sell well, reboot it and call it New Avengers again. New Avengers Volume 2. Like, to keep going, and it would be fine.
Like they did in the 2000s, in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
New Avengers had like 4 different runs.
Mm-hmm. Al Ewing's New Avengers was so good, and then it got spun into the U.S. Avengers, which was fucking stupid. And it was just like it's so weird to see what's happened to Marvel, bro. Like, genuinely, like, so many ideas could fix the stupid at Marvel, where it's like, you know what, Miles and Kamala are growing up. She could still be Ms. Marvel because Carol was Ms. Marvel for 1,000 years. That's fine. But like, let them go to college. Let Peter retire and move up a little bit. Carol can be the head of the Avengers and do cool things. And then like, let the next group of sidekicks pull up a little bit. Let them do their own thing. But they're like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna think for ourselves.
But then how will Peter Parker get to do his college antics all the time? Come on. See, that's what you don't understand. It's all about Peter Parker. Bro,
you know, there was a joke that me and my logo guy made a while back, where I said Peter Parker is the most bland thing left in the comic books, where he is as special as a jar of mayonnaise. And I had him whip up a picture of Parker Industries branded mayonnaise, because I was so annoyed, bro. Genuinely, like, you abandoned such a great idea in Parker Industries, where he could be the new age Tony Stark, the Mark Zuckerberg of the DC universe, or like the Elon without the ketamine, and be the brand new like head of tech in the Marvel universe. And y'all said, nah, we'll have him lose his company and sleep on Mockingbird's couch. And I'm like, what?
Bring back Tony. Bring back the white guys. How dare they even think of putting any minorities in a major role? It's disgusting.
Crazy.
No, but and you know, on that note, we've been going for 2 hours straight.
God damn.
We always talk about on this show. We try to shoot for an hour and a half, and it never is that short. And I almost said before the show, like, this is gonna be the longest episode ever, to try to like jinx it reverse. and I didn't say it, but this is now officially the longest episode ever.
Yeah,
and
love that.
That being said, I really appreciate you stopping by and talking with us. We definitely support minorities in comics. I honestly support minorities fucking everywhere. And if you got a problem with that, then come fucking see me.
Love that.
But when we talk about these issues, if you got offended by this, what I would like you to do is take one step back and think about what we really said and actually process what the fuck we're trying to tell you, the points we're trying to make, and don't take it as they're just attacking white people, because that's not what's happening at all, for the record. But that being said, again, thank you so much for stopping by. It was a blast. We will, as long as you're willing, you are definitely welcome back.
I literally just do like history episodes. I love talking comic history. Like I love, like, I want to be like known as a comic historian one day, because I love like the medium. I love everything about this, because like genuinely more people need to learn about this stuff. And if we forget our history, we're doomed to repeat it. Like, I genuinely want to help people with that.
Amen. Absolutely. So before we go, do you have anything you want to plug? Any new episodes coming up?
Yes, sir. Tuesday, February 10th, I have probably like my biggest highlight ever, like a bucket list interview, I called it, where I got to sit down with like one of the editors of the OG Milestone. He's one of the writers of the new history of the DC Universe, the Dakota Incident, Joseph Illidge. He is so passionate about the medium. And one of the things that he told me during that interview that broke my heart, that if this book doesn't succeed, he will have to walk away from Milestone. And he sees himself and sees like the spirit of Dwayne McDuffie telling him that he did enough. And genuinely, that broke my fucking heart. So this, when I tell you this, like if I don't do any other big interview ever again, even though Scott Snyder, you still owe me a damn interview from 2016. If I don't ever do another interview ever again, this will be the highlight of my career, and I will die by that. So genuinely, it would mean the world to me on Tuesday, February 10th, if y'all went to comicsunmasked.com and you checked out that episode, because it quite frankly could be the thing that saves the Milestone universe, in my opinion. So
that's me. That'll all be tagged below. This episode drops on Sundays.
Sweet.
So it'll give you a couple days to get that up there, and I'll definitely be there. And I tell you, hearing that as a creator, as a writer myself, and thinking of what it would take to make me walk away from my title, that shook me to my core. Because I know there is a distant day where if certain things don't transpire, I'm going to have no choice but to walk away, unless I do everything that needs to be done and I get enough support that I can keep going and keep going. And I will leave you with this, and we'll let Year have his last little bit. If you are supporting Marvel and DC books, do us a favor. Like JP said, buy an indie book, because the indie books need your money far more than Marvel and DC do, and more than likely it will be a better story, and it'll have some of the best art you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it has stakes. Unlike Marvel and DC books, a lot of the times, like you said earlier, books can fucking end on the indies, and that alone makes a story worth telling. Because if you can continue just reboot and relaunch and redo this, who cares what happens? Indies, for the most part, don't do that. And if you don't support them, they can't go 3 issues of not doing well, where like a Spider-Man book will have 5 bad issues and they'll just reboot it and start over. Indies don't get that opportunity. So if you're supporting any comics, grab an indie or two just to help, please. As an indie creator, I beg of you. Year, any final thoughts?
No, man, shout out to JP for being flexible and coming on the podcast and talking to us for 2 hours. Insane. We probably could do 2 hours more if we didn't have other commitments. We love this medium. We love comic books so much. And go check him out at the Comics Unmasked on YouTube. Go like, subscribe, watch his podcast. Like he said, he has a lot of crazy interviews in there, and the general cast is pretty hilarious and anyway, and knowledgeable on their shit. I love the Comics Unmasked crew.
Most definitely. So I appreciate y'all letting me be here. Thank you so much.
No, it is a pleasure and honor, good sir. And like I said earlier, you're always welcome back.
Hell yeah.
And with that being said, until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.